Eka took the items Ini gave to her and kept it under the tree and began to make some incantation.
Ekaba imobo elebenia. Ajanaka ikabranga. Eko anana eshene. I plead for you to make Ini and her husband poor. Make her poor to the extent that she won't see any food.
Once upon a time, in a small village called Idemili, there lived two women named Ini and Eka. Ini and Eka were very good neighbors who lived close to each other. They were more than neighbors. In fact, they were very close friends. Ini was a kind and generous woman who loved and trusted everyone. She thought everyone was just like her, generous and kind, and so she treated people with so much love, trust, and respect. Eka, on the other hand, was a very cunning, wicked, and greedy woman. She never loved to see anything good happen to other people. In fact, she was selfish and way too greedy than anyone could imagine. Ini was married to a wealthy man named Obike, who was a farmer. Obike had acres of farmland where he planted yams, cassavas, corns, and different kinds of crops. He had a very large barn of yam where he stored yams in thousands. He also had many workers. He was indeed rich. Eka's husband, called Agu, was not as well off. He was just a poor hunter who fed his family from the meat he caught from the bush and sold at the market. He was poor. Eka was always jealous of Ini's wealth and happiness, although she always pretends to be happy. Ini never knew Eka was a green snake under the green grass. She saw Eka as her own sister, but little did she know that she was a mini devil. Ini's husband, Obike, loved his wife so much and spoils her and her children with so many gifts. Each time Ini's husband buys her a new jewelry or wrapper, Ini would rush down to her neighbor's hut and begin to show her what her husband got for her. Ini would say to her friend, Eka, my husband just bought me a beautiful set of jewelries, nice wrappers and dresses. My husband has been so kind towards me. I don't know what I can use to thank him. Just look at them now. Eka, out of jealousy, would reply,
They're fine. They are so beautiful. I love them. And I'm sure it will look nice on you. I'm happy on your behalf.
She would say in a very jealous tone. Ini, out of her generosity, would give her some of the wrappers, dresses, and jewelries. Eka would accept the items, pretending to be happy. But then, when she goes back to her hut, she would start saying bad things against her friend.
Did I even ask her to give me any of these items? Ini is always showing off and telling everyone that her husband is rich. I don't blame her.
While Ini, on the other hand, would be happy that she gifted her friend some of the items her husband bought for her. Ini trusted Eka to the extent that each time her husband tells her how much he made from his farm business, Ini would immediately tell Eka about it and even how much her husband made. Ini never kept any secret regarding her family away from Eka. She would tell her the whole story or event happening in her family. This made Eka hate her even more and deeply. behind Eka's fake smile lay a big hatred for Ini. One day, Ini's husband, Obike, bought his wife and children different beautiful items. Ini, as usual, took some of the items and gifted them to Eka and her children. Eka was filled with jealousy and saw nothing good in what Ini did for her, and she swore to deal with her. On a very cold Friday morning, Eka took most of the items she has received from her friend and embarked on a journey deep into the forest to a shrine called Owaki Shrine. This shrine was a shrine located under a 200-year-old mighty big tree. Eka took the items Ini gave to her and kept it under the tree and began to make some incantation.
Ekaba imobo elebenia. Ajanaka ikabranga. Eko anana eshene. I plead for you to make Ini and her husband poor. Make her poor to the extent that she won't see any food to eat. I want to be the one giving her. Grant me this request, Owaki, and I will come back with a bigger token to thank you.
After Eka finished her incantations and declarations, she started going back home. She was very happy that finally she had fulfilled her long-time wish. After a few weeks, Eka kept waiting to hear a sad story from Ini regarding her husband's wealth. But rather, Ini kept telling her more and more beautiful and surprising stories regarding her husband's business. They kept making more and more and more money, and even became twice as rich. Eka was so disappointed. She said,
How can this not work on her? How is it even possible?
She went back to the Owaki Shrine to meet the chief priest who was representing the old tree. The chief priest told her that Ini's heart was very pure and that, as such, there was no spell she could cast on her that could work because she is innocent and has a pure heart. That the only way the spell would work on her was to make her hate her or dislike her or even quarrel and fight with her. Eka went home disappointed. She tried to find ways to upset Ini. She tried to make Ini quarrel with her or call her names, but Ini never fell into her evil trap. She was too peaceful and never saw Eka as an enemy. Rather, she apologized first at any misunderstanding Eka tried to make. Eka began to spread lies about Ini and her family all over the village, calling them names. But Ini could hear all these rumors and pretended like she didn't. She refused to stoop to Eka's level. She remained kind and compassionate towards everyone, even Eka. Eka, on seeing that none of her plans had worked, went back to Ini, knelt before her and pleaded her forgiveness. Ini forgave her and they became friends again. But after a few weeks, Ini's husband, Obike, got a very big contract from the king of Idemili town. He was going to supply 7,000 tubers of yam to the king for the upcoming New Yam festival. The king offered to pay him a huge amount of money, and also some acres of land was allocated to Ini's husband. Her husband was overjoyed and told his wife about the great news. Ini was so excited that she couldn't hold back her joy because they were going to be twice as rich than they were before. Ini, being so ignorant, rushed immediately to Eka's hut and told her about the whole news.